Mangal Pandey was born on July 19, 1827 in a Brahmin family at Nagwa, a village of Upper Ballia district, Ceded and Conquered Provinces, now in Uttar Pradesh. He had joined the Bengal Army in 1849. He was a private soldier in the 5th Company of the 34th Bengal Native Infantry. Mangal Pandey was an Indian soldier who played a key part in the events immediately preceding the outbreak of the Indian Rebellion of 1857. He was a sepoy, infantryman, in the 34th Bengal Native Infantry, BNI, regiment of the British East India Company. During the incident itself he shouted to other sepoys, "Come out, the Europeans are here. From biting these cartridges we shall become infidels, and you sent me out here, why don't you follow me?" The afternoon of March 29, 1857, Lieutenant Baugh, Adjutant of the 34th Bengal Native Infantry, then stationed at Barrackpore, was informed that several men of his regiment were in an excited state. Further, it was reported to him that one of them, Mangal Pandey, was pacing in front of the regiment's guard room by the parade ground, armed with a loaded musket. Calling upon the men to rebel and threatening to shoot the first European that he set eyes on. Testimony at a subsequent inquiry recorded that Pandey, unsettled by unrest amongst the sepoys and intoxicated by the narcotic bhang, had seized weapons and run to the quarter guard building upon learning that a detachment of British soldiers was disembarking from a steamer near the cantonment. Baugh immediately armed himself and galloped on his horse to the lines. Pandey took position behind the station gun, which was in front of the quarter guard of the 34th, took aim at Baugh and fired. He missed Baugh, but the bullet struck his horse in the flank, bringing both the horse and its rider down. Baugh quickly disentangled himself and, seizing one of his pistols, advanced towards Pandey and fired. He missed. Before Baugh could draw his sword, Pandey attacked him with a tulwar, a heavy Indian sword, and closing with the adjutant, slashed Baugh on the shoulder and neck, and brought him to the ground. It was then that another sepoy, Sheikh Paltu, intervened and tried to restrain Pandey even as he tried to reload his musket. Sheikh Paltu continued to defend the two British officers, calling upon other sepoys to join him. The sepoys, with obvious sympathy for Pandey, chose to remain inactive. Some are reported to have attacked their officers with the butts of their muskets. The sepoys threw stones and shoes at Sheikh Paltu, threatening to shoot him if he did not let go of Mangal Pandey. Paltu, however, continued to cling to him until the British officers had time to rise and escape. Sepoy Sheikh Paltu was promoted to Havildar, Sergeant, for his behavior on March 29, but he was murdered in an isolated part of the Barrackpore cantonment shortly before the regiment was disbanded. Sheikh Pandey's reference to cartridges is usually attributed to a new type of bullet cartridge used in the Enfield P-53 rifle, which was to be introduced in the Bengal Army that year. The cartridge was thought to be greased with animal fat, primarily from cows and pigs, which could not be consumed by Hindus and Muslims respectively, the former a holy animal of the Hindus and the latter being abhorrent to Muslims. The cartridges had to be bitten at one end before use. The Indian troops in some regiments were of the opinion that this was an intentional act of the British, with the aim of defiling their religions. A court of inquiry was ordered which, after an investigation lasting nearly a month, recommended the disbanding of the 19th BNI. The same was carried out on March 31st. The 19th BNI was allowed to retain items of uniform and were provided by the government with allowances to return to their homes. Both Colonel Mitchell of the 19th BNI and, subsequent to the incident of March 29, Colonel Wheeler of Pandey's 34th BNI were declared unsuited to take charge of any new regiments raised to replace the disbanded units. The attack by and punishment of Pandey is widely seen as the opening scene of what came to be known as the Indian Rebellion of 1857. Knowledge of his action was widespread amongst his fellow sepoys and is assumed to have been one of the factors leading to the general series of mutinies that broke out during the following months. Mangal Pandey would prove to be influential for later figures in the Indian nationalist movement. The Indian government issued a postage stamp to remember him,